Good morning. Welcome back to First Talk with Hal Rowe on WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro, 1290 AM, 102.3 FM. Pleased to welcome to our studio this morning Mr. Lee Moritz. He is the mayor of Conover. We'll talk with him this morning about some of the great things happening in downtown Conover and the surrounding areas. Event-wise, also Kyle Hayman joins us this morning. Mayor Pro Tem. We'll find out a little bit about them and talk about what's happening in Conover. Mr. Moritz, nice to see you again this morning.
Good morning, sir.
We've seen you in the studio from time to time, and maybe I already knew this, but maybe I didn't because I can't remember this. I knew that you were involved at one point in business and industry in our area.
Yes, sir.
But I don't think I knew that you were a retired lieutenant colonel of the United States Army, right?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Well, off the air, I did say thank you for your service to our country, and I want to repeat that. You were with the Army for a number of years, active duty, helicopter pilot?
That's correct, yes, sir.
And then after that?
I was with the North Carolina National Guard. Finished up 21 years. So
21 years, retired. I guess, I've never been in a helicopter. Did you do any service overseas, like in country or any of the things that I
spent a lot of time in Europe and several other places and enjoyed it.
Right.
A lot of flying.
Right.
About 2,800 hours. So.
Really? As a helicopter pilot. That had to be a lot. By any chance, just real quick, we'll get back to Conover here. I'm trying to think of the fort. Is it Fort Rucker? It's Fort Rucker.
Fort Rucker is where I learned.
In Alabama. Right. I had a buddy of mine used to live in Alabama, and I would ask my friend, how's your brother doing? And all he would ever say, they're trying to kill me. He was a helicopter instructor down there.
His first time the instructor let go of the controls, he told me, he says, hey, Lieutenant, try to keep this in the state of Alabama. So.
Well, thank you very much for your service. And it had to be a great career. Also joining us this morning is Kyle Hayman, Mayor Pro Tem, District Claim Manager for Farm Bureau.
That's correct.
So how's that gone for you over the years? You've been working there for a couple of years, you told me.
A couple of years, almost 24.
Almost 24.
Yeah, so 24 in June.
And they were hiring 6-year-olds at that time, right?
Absolutely.
You started at 6.
Absolutely. I had a permit.
Now, I know that Farm Bureau is a lot more than just farms.
Oh, yes.
But I think that's where it got its start, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely.
It was in agriculture.
It sure was.
Catawba County still being so full of it, and agriculture important, too. Do you deal with a lot of folks who may be involved with cattle or with growing or with a lot of different farms, or is it different types of insurance or the claims?
Well, it's property and casualty insurance, but yes, we deal with a lot of farm owners and their farm buildings with their business, absolutely.
And that's a great thing for Catawba County, I think, because we still have that agriculture part here, so very important.
That's part of our heritage.
Part of our heritage. Let's start with talking about some of the events or about Conover. First of all, let's kind of get the boundaries, because Conover, oftentimes people refer to it, which I don't think is fair, to Newton or Conover, but people will say the Newton Conover area. Somebody help me with some boundaries and where we're talking about with Conover.
Well, we have Boundary Street, which actually divides between Newton and Conover.
Okay.
Then we have, if you go up 6470 to Fairgrove Church Road.
Okay.
That's kind of the three corners, if you will.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
And then across over to Old 70, and then County Home Road.
Sure.
Out that way. So,
okay.
And then out 16 a portion, and then toward Claremont we have a divider.
So that's a good sized municipality.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So that's kind of the Conover area. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that are happening in Conover today, some of the events, and talk a little bit about downtown, because really there's a lot going on in Conover now, and I know it has been for a number of years, but I think one of the great assets and one of the things that may have helped with that was the revitalization or the renewal of the station. Is that correct?
Conover Station.
Conover Station.
That's correct. That's in our downtown. It's the old Broyhill factory.
Right.
26 acres. The city acquired it about 11 years ago.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we have been working diligently ever since then to try to revitalize that area.
Do you think that was one of the things that maybe kicked off a revitalization or a renewal for Conover and for that area? Was that property and that area? Because I've been to events there, wonderful event location, and just a great building, great structure. Do you think that was one of the things that kind of kicked things off?
Absolutely. I think the city council at the time, I commend them for their vision. I'm not sure that anybody really envisioned what it would become, but we've kind of been plugging away at it every day for the last 11 years, and there's still a lot more that we can do there.
Mayor Moritz, did it kind of grow from that area? Did you see more businesses springing up or maybe being revitalized around that? Did it become kind of a centerpiece, or more people said, hey, I wanted to be down near Conover Station. If I'm going to start a business, or if I want to have a shop or a store or whatever it may be, I kind of want to be near that.
Certainly the momentum started there. I give our staff a lot of the credit because years ago we just said, okay, we've got this 26-acre site. What are we going to do with it? And, we challenged our staff to get smart on grants and grant funding.
Right.
And they went out and, to date we've got almost $7 million in grants for that area. And we've got a wonderful park. The Conover Station building you talked about,
right.
The Manufacturing Solutions Center, which is totally changing the way we look at manufacturing here in the area.
Is that located within Conover Station or at the?
It is
inside Conover Station.
It was a partnership between City of Conover and CVCC.
Okay.
And of course, the Manufacturing Solutions Center, Dan St. Louis. You've had him on your show before.
Absolutely.
They're doing a lot of wonderful things, and we're continuing to partner with them. As a matter of fact, all the incubator space inside there is now. I think they have one slot left.
Wow!
So they're going to be looking for more space. They just announced a partnership with MIT, believe it or not, doing advanced manufacturing, doing some DoD work with some advanced textiles.
Wow!
So there's a lot of opportunity there at the Manufacturing Solutions Center, and all that just kind of comes with the strategy of the council. Kyle and I, we were very behind what CVC was doing. I'd worked with Dan St. Louis in
right.
textiles before, so I knew what he was capable of doing. And what's interesting is I was talking to one of the incubators.
I'll tell you what, we're going to have to go to a break.
Sure.
When we come back, I want to hear the story.
Sure.
Talk about one of the folks in the incubator area. When we return with Kyle Hayman, Mayor Pro Tem, and Lee Moritz, Mayor of Conover. More First Talk after this break. Good morning. Welcome back to First Talk with Hal Rowe on WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro, 1290 AM, 102.3 FM. We're talking this morning with Kyle Hayman. He is the Mayor Pro Tem in the city of Conover, as well as Lee Moritz, the Mayor of Conover. We went to the break. I hated to interrupt you, but that break music comes in. We need to go. You were talking to one of the entrepreneurs in the incubator area of the Manufacturing Solutions Center at the Conover Station. And they were talking to you about, I guess, the opportunities or what was happening for them next?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this particular company is a startup. They're doing some very unique products they're building. And one of the things, one of the strategies we had with partnering with CVCC was to make sure that when these companies leave the incubator space, that they stay close by. If it's not in Conover, it's in Hickory, Newton, what have you. And that's exactly what these companies are doing because they're staying very close. The second thing I wanted to mention is I'm very proud about. We've had over 6,000 middle schoolers come through the Manufacturing Solutions Center. And it's totally changed the mindset of these young folks on manufacturing. They're used to back in, say 10, 20 years ago,
right.
Mom, Dad, Uncle getting laid off and manufacturing being dirty. It's totally changed mindsets, and we're very proud of that.
I don't blame you. It's certainly something to be very proud of.
We both have manufacturing backgrounds. I worked at Conover Chair when I was in college at Lenoir-Rhyne, and the manufacturing today is nothing like it was when I was in college.
Right. I do want to talk. I assumed prior knowledge with folks, and I should never do that. As I'm sitting here talking, I feel like everybody knew about Conover Station, the Manufacturing Solutions Center. Let's kind of go over this. If you've been to the Conover area, it's just off the edge of downtown. It used to be the train station, this Conover Station.
Correct.
And you had, and I was right on this, but I didn't want to bring it up the air because so oftentimes I'm not. But you had the Conover Station, the big building there, the Broyhill Manufacturing area that had been redone, and then there's another building down beside that, and that's where that's
Manufacturing Solutions Center.
But that building, it looks like it would have been an adjunct building and another supply building or whatever for that, but it's not. It's a new building.
It's a new building, about 5 years old. It was designed to look like the other building.
Well, there you go. They did a good job.
Continuity.
Right.
And then next to that on the other side is the Perfect Workout, and it is also designed to look like the other buildings.
So did they build that building, the perfect workout?
Yes.
That was that. So but that looks like part of the campus. It looks like that. It really does look like that was. That was a surprise to me to find out that was a newly constructed building.
Yes.
You also have a lot of green space there. That's one of the things that we want to talk about. You got a splash pad,
right?
And the JCs are having the Greater Hickory JCs are having Conover Alive at that location and enjoying it. They did last year because they have the splash pad there and they have the area. Let's talk a little bit about that because that's some of the events. Well, maybe a good way to start.
The JCs had a tremendous success last year. They moved Hickory Alive to Conover, and it's Conover Alive. They did it in June last year, and because of the success, they've now expanded it to June and July. So we're thrilled to have them. It was a great success. A lot of people were there, and it just brings the community together.
Well, both Kyle and I feel strongly about the JCs. We feel like that's really a space to an organization to really learn how to be community servants. We spend time with them. We try to mentor them because they are our future leaders,
Right.
And so we're very honored to have them in Conover.
You wanted to talk about some events this morning and some of the things that are happening. Tell me about what's going on. I'll leave it. I'll kind of throw it out there, and then we'll talk about it as we go.
Well, the next big event is June 3rd,
okay.
and we will be hosting the Shriners Parade.
Oh yeah, that's somebody told me about that. I can't remember. Maybe it was you, Mister. I can't remember. But hosting the Shriners Parade on June 3rd. Okay,
that's correct, and that'll be in downtown Conover.
It's going to be a great event. It's the first time we've ever had any kind of parade, if you will, in Conover. The North Carolina Shriners are coming for their annual event. And we volunteered to host them for their parade.
Nice.
So we're looking for we want folks to come out and participate. It'll be a lot of fun. You'll see all Shriner organizations from across North Carolina bringing their toys in to have some fun, and it's all for the kids. And 2 o'clock on the 3rd.
Okay.
We'll have our downtown open, and it's just going to be a wonderful event. We're looking forward to it. So I wanted to make sure we got the word out because this was an event that came to us kind of if you will last minute, and we're putting it together, and it's going to be. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I want a lot of people to get out there and support the Shriners, especially coming from throughout the great state of North Carolina. 2 o'clock, June 3rd. Take the kids to a parade, have some fun, and like you said, it is for the kids. And what a great organization! So all the Shriners, we're glad to have them here in the great.
Absolutely.
One other thing I wanted to mention too is we've been on the waiting list now for 4.5 years for the traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall. And we were awarded that this last month, or a couple months ago, I guess, and we approved the funding in council last month. The 8th through 11 September, we will have 3/5 scale of the Vietnam Wall in Conover at the Conover station. It will be open 24 hours a day. We'll have counseling there. We want to get. We're looking to get all of our school children there. We're going to have veterans there to talk about their service, and I think it'd be a wonderful time for these veterans to fellowship, maybe have some closure, maybe have some veterans come and get the help that they need, and also for our young people to understand what ultimate sacrifice really means.
Are y'all working with any different veterans groups in the area?
American Legion.
Okay.
American Legion, disabled veterans, they've all been wonderful, stepping forward, anything we can do, and we'll have them participate because we have to man this 24 hours a day. So
did not know that.
Yes.
And it'll be illuminated. So it's going to be a great event. It's the furthest west in North Carolina that the wall has ever come.
Really?
So we're hoping and really would like to get the word out. We have some veterans out there. 8 through 11 September. We'd love to have you.
Let's talk about some of the other things that are happening with Conover as a whole. Do you find that businesses are seeking out Conover as a place to do business and to be? Do you have those requests? Do you have people talking to either city council or business license? I mean, how do you kind of track that or look at that?
We do have that, and one of the things that we are actively working on is revitalizing our downtown.
Okay.
We've seen it done in Statesville. We've seen it done in Morganton, where the city has invested into their downtown because we feel that the downtown is the heart of the city.
How about living? How about living downtown? Because
Well,
that's one of the things that I hear, and maybe there are plans on the drawing board y'all can't talk about, or things that are going on. But that's one of the things that I've heard that millennials and young folks, Gen X, Y, and then also folks really like that downtown. When we come back, maybe we could talk a little bit about that.
Sure, great.
More with Lee Moritz, the mayor of Conover, as well as Kyle Hayman, Mayor Pro Tem. We'll talk more about what's going on in Conover when we return. Good morning. Welcome back to First Talk with Hal Rowe on 1290 WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro, 102.3 FM. I think all of us in the room have loaded trucks. We were talking.
Sure.
I think if nothing else, we've all done that. Well, I think we spent a little time in manufacturing, so we were talking about that this morning with Kyle Hayman, Mayor Pro Tem, City of Conover, Lee Moritz, Mayor of Conover, and we're talking about some of the great things that are happening there. And before we want to talk about the downtown revitalization, but
sure.
But I missed something big. I don't want to just kind of gloss over and not talk about, because you've given me permission so we could talk about this on the air.
Sure.
And that's the park expansion.
Yes.
That's going to be happening at Conover Station.
We've had a lot of success with our park. It's just been a big hit. Of course, we're the first splash pad in the area, which I'm glad that all the other cities are picking up on that. It's a great recreational opportunity. I ride by the park all the time, and any day of the week, just about almost any hour of the night. The folks are out there enjoying themselves. So we decided that we needed to expand that, and we've gone after some grant money. We got some Part F money.
Part F?
Part F was recreational money from North Carolina.
Parks and Rec.
It is a competitive grant, and of course our guys, again, our staff, pulled my hats off to them, put together a nice packet, and we were awarded some monies for that. And along with Bondi Coley, Norman Coley's late Norman Coley's wife, wants to put some money in partnership with us. So we're looking to build expand the park, build a venue, and a
amphitheater. Was what we're looking at doing.
This is great that y'all are talking about.
Well, it's it kind of goes into what we were talking about the JCs earlier with the Conover Live. They always have their bands, and this would be a great opportunity for the bands to be showcased there, and just a much more open area for people to gather. A very relaxed area, and it's in a part of the park where we really couldn't expand for business. It was just not laid out well for a building.
But laid out perfect for an
perfect for a park.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, train lends itself to that.
So we took what we thought was a liability and turned it into an asset, or we're going to turn it into an asset.
And this is something that's planned for the near future. You're just talking about it now. And then this is just we're at the conversation point, but that's where it all starts, is talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's further along than just the talk.
Okay.
It's going to happen.
Good.
We'll begin construction fourth quarter.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So we're moving ahead with this.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Very good. Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
I know a lot of people will be very happy to see the park expansion, and will be very happy to see the amphitheater coming. Mm-hmm. So I think that's just that's great.
Well, folks need to thank staff, as Lee said. It's all about the folks that work for us. We have such a fantastic group of people that work for the city of Conover.
They're real pros and very passionate about what they do. We're here talking about the city, but I got to put take my hat off to this staff and also our council, because we're really pulling all in the same direction, and that's a good thing. It's good for the city, and it helps build momentum.
Let's talk about we talked about the park expansion. We talked about Conover Station, all that, because next we wanted to move into downtown and revitalization, because that's so important in so many different communities. Some people refer to a downtown area as the front porch of their community or of their
heartbeat,
city.
sure.
A heartbeat of the city. Tell me a little bit about revitalization and what you want to do in downtown Conover, and I'll just throw that out to either Mr. Hayman or Mayor Moritz.
Well, we're already starting the streetscape, which is going to hopefully keep traffic flowing. We've got upwards about 30,000 vehicles that travel through downtown on a given workday. So we want to capture those folks. We want those folks to be able to see the businesses that we have downtown and stop and shop. We want their money to be spent in downtown Conover.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the things that when we started talking about downtown revitalization, we talked about there's a study out there, and people remember places, and they relate to cities as a place, and we want downtown to be that. And we're trying to create a village atmosphere, and we've got almost 50% of this came out of grant funding. We're doing almost $1 million worth of investment into our downtown. You'll see a lot more.
The city is investing $1 million in the downtown area. Okay.
Yeah, well, if you go to the Conover website, you'll see some renderings of what we're doing. But we're going to be doing plantings in the center aisle, slowing down the traffic. It's just going to be we're adding electric car charging stations. We're doing a pedestrian crossing over the railroad. So there's a lot of pieces and parts to this, but we're all excited about what's going to happen.
It's also going to open up the sidewalks there in front of the businesses. Before we had trees planted within the sidewalk. Those have been removed. The sidewalks are going to be opened up. We're still going to have trees planted, but they won't be impeding the walkway.
Okay, so those are going to move out, I guess, a little bit.
That's
correct.
Yes.
Right.
Like many.
Glad to hear you're keeping trees.
Oh yes.
Are you getting rid of some, but putting back in?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got rid of some, and we're putting them back. So we're just putting different species back.
Okay, good.
It'll be a little bit more friendlier to the downtown, the businesses and such. So we're very excited about that. We just feel very passionate about our downtown, as you said, the heartbeat of the city, and we hope that we're doing our piece. And we're going to bring alongside our merchants and our landlords, our business building owners, and we'll see some of that. And that's one of the things that we've implemented is a facade grant.
Right.
Now y'all have okay. We'll go ahead with the facade grant.
Well, we implemented that late last year. It's the Conover Downtown Revitalization Grant. It's a 50-50 match at a limit of $25,000. We've had several building owners take advantage of this already.
Now, is that if I spend $25,000, city will kick in 25 or 25 total?
Up to 25.
Up to 25.
Okay.
But it's for facade purposes, and
so I can make the front of my building look a lot better, match up with what else is going on in downtown.
Absolutely, and the idea is that these building owners will invest in their buildings to attract more people to come in. Also, some of the buildings that may be for sale, we hope that this anticipates people to invest and maybe buy some of these buildings to bring in some businesses, whether it's restaurant or additional retail. We'd love to have restaurants. Every small town in western North Carolina seems to want to have a brewery. So those are opportunities that could happen.
Tell me about living downtown, because you've got, we haven't talked about this yet, but you have a thread trail. In addition to the thread trail, we'll talk a little bit about that and some of the other amenities that you have as far as walkability, connectivity. These are words that we hear that people want. You're kind of putting that in place. You either have that in place or putting that in place, and now you've got the buildings. Tell me about living in downtown Conover, because that is what people want. If you don't think it works, go to NODA. I was just talking to a person yesterday at lunch who literally, they just drove through to see a restaurant. They literally they couldn't find a parking place. That's how crowded it is and how busy it is, and that's what you want.
Couldn't agree with you more. We several years ago, we encouraged the business owners downtown on Main Street to open up for residential above. Have a shop down below, and we've had one.
We've had one.
Yeah, one come on board.
We have
a
couple others that could do that.
Mm-hmm. But we do feel like that you're right on, and it's one of our objectives is to try to entice builders to come and do some building and some residential near our downtown, because let's face it, you try to create a downtown to where you can walk, you can enjoy, you can socialize, and that's what we want. And some of the things
you've got the park right there. Mm-hmm. You've got the connectivity with the sidewalks. You've got the thread trail. So you've got all that other people may be trying to add in different areas. They may have the area for residential. So if you've got the buildings and you've got some areas that are open for expansion, all you need now is the people to invest and say, I want to build in downtown Conover. I want to put condos. I want to put apartments, whatever. and then you can take it from there. When we come back, we'll talk more about what's going on in Conover with Kyle Hayman, Mayor Pro Tem, Lee Moritz, Mayor of the City of Conover. More First Talk after this. Thanks so much for joining us on First Talk. We know you have a choice in morning radio. We appreciate you choosing WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro, 1290 AM, 102.3 FM. We're joined this morning by Kyle Hayman, Mayor Pro Tem, City of Conover, as well as Lee Moritz, Mayor of Conover. And I know that you wanted to say a word regarding the passing of the Mayor of the City of Hickory, Rudy Wright, before we continued on this morning.
Absolutely. Mayor Wright and I, he was a great mentor to me. We spoke quite often on the phone, and obviously, along with everyone else, we're very shocked about that. Our prayers are with his wife Donna. The one thing that I take away from all my experiences with Rudy was the fact that success is anywhere in the county is a success, and that's the way we look at it. Certainly, we'd love for him to come to Conover, but if it come to Hickory, Newton, Catawba, Claremont, Maiden, it makes no difference to us, and that's one of the things that I'll always remember. And he'll certainly be missed, his leadership.
And Mr. Hayman.
Well, I don't know if I've ever told anybody this, but when I was first elected in 2007, Rudy was the first person outside of Conover to give me a call and congratulate me. Huh. It didn't benefit him in any way to call this young kid that got elected to city council in Conover, but he did, and we spoke for several minutes, and it was very genuine, and he was always more than kind every time that I was around him at events, and I think that speaks to the character of the man that he was.
Absolutely.
I hear those stories. I've heard those stories so many times in the past few days about that personal one-on-one that really maybe nobody thinks about or talks about, but like you said, the first person to call picked up the phone, and you remember that because it was a personal one-on-one contact. And also today, a big day in the life of you, your family, Mr. Moritz. There's a birthday today, right?
There he is. Yeah, my daughter turns 30, and of course, Lindsay Kiesler is the president now of the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm very proud of her. She's super passionate about the county and very excited to be in this position, and I think she'll do well.
She takes after her mother.
I thank goodness.
We're talking about it. Like I said, I'm not making any comment on that at all, other than I'm so pleased with the appointment. I think that the chamber and the search committee did a wonderful job. I'm glad that she agreed to serve in the position, and again, I think that she'll do very, very well.
Thank you very
always
much.
Been very, very impressed with her, and nice to have her in that position. Let's talk before we wrap up this morning about the future plans for Conover. We've been talking about some of the events that are taking place now. We've talked about livability, but Kyle Hayman and Mayor Moritz, let's talk about the livability and the walkability of what's there now. Because, Mr. Hayman, you were telling me about the sidewalk connectivity, not just in downtown, but surrounding areas that take you to the YMCA.
Takes you through the YMCA, through the Thread Trail in Lyle Creek. It's all connectable. You can now walk on a sidewalk without getting on the road and worrying about getting hit by a car, which I think a lot of younger people, as well as older people, retirees are just as active, if not more active, than people in their 20s now. They have screamed about sidewalks, and they are getting used every day.
It's brought road races to our community.
Yeah.
We've got cross-country events down the Thread Trail along the Lyle Creek.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost, I guess, really, if you take the Lyle Creek, it's almost 11, 12-mile loop. So
That's correct.
Back to the Y.
That's correct.
And, of course, we're blessed to have the Y.
11 or 12-mile loop.
Mm-hmm.
All walkable.
All walkable.
Yep.
Either with trails or marked trails.
Or
Correct.
sidewalks.
Or sidewalks. From the Y back to the Y.
Mm-hmm.
We're blessed to have the Y, and that's one of our initiatives in council is to support the Y, and that's why we try to focus on that walkability, because that's where folks are leaving and starting and finishing from. So,
yesterday we had just a real quick opinion from you as your servants, public servants on the council. We had Mick Berry in yesterday, county manager, Dr. Garrett Moritz, CVCC, Randy Eisenhower, chairman of the. Tell me about Catawba County and your hopes, dreams, views for the future of Catawba County when we're taking a look, because you've mentioned the municipalities and what's good for one city or municipality is good for everybody.
Sure.
Tell me about K64 and the way that you're feeling about Catawba County, because I feel, and I think a lot of people are starting to feel really good about what's happening in Catawba County as a whole. Mr. Hayman.
It's going to take you had three of the best leaders that Catawba County has on the show yesterday.
Yeah, heavy hitters. That was great.
Heavy hitters, absolutely. K64.
And they were mentioning y'all when they wrapped up yesterday. Mr. I was like, you got my cousin on tomorrow. I was like, yeah.
That's right. K64 is really going to be a game changer. And it's going to take time. It's going to take a change in the philosophy that we have had approaching education. And I think our superintendents are clearly on board. It's going to take a partnership between government, education, and the business leaders, and that's what's happening right now.
Mayor Moritz, your opinion on what's happening in Catawba County and the surrounding areas with just a couple minutes this morning. I'd like to kind of give you the last word on the future of what's happening in our area as a whole.
Very upbeat. The momentum's moving, especially, I certainly feel like it is in Conover, and I do feel like that. I'm excited to see these young folks come into leadership positions. Nat Alton.
Yeah, we talked about Nat during the break. What a great choice for the YMCA.
Super choice. He's just a great people person and just a great young leader. And I'm very, very optimistic. I feel like that our CEOs, I talk to them all the time. They're struggling still on workforce,
right?
But we have the manufacturing academy, we have the furniture academy.
Absolutely.
This K64 that Kyle was mentioning, it has to work. It will work.
Right.
We're all behind it. All of us are behind it, and we're going to see that it's going to be successful because that's the future. There's a great website up there for your listeners to go to. Just punch in K64 and it spells it out what we've got to do and the mission and how we're going to do it. So.
I want to thank both of you for joining us this morning. Kyle Hayman, Mayor Pro Tem, City of Conover. Wish you continued success with what's going on in Conover. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Mayor Moritz, always good to see you. Thanks again for joining us and coming back on the air with us. Mayor of the City of Conover. We're going to go ahead and close the way we normally do with our national anthem.